right, everybody, welcome to episode number 30. Welcome to the Daily Crossing. Alexi, Lorena.
How you doing?
Good to see you. How you doing today?
Yeah.
30 for 30, right? For all of you that are already going into that direction.
Yeah, barely.
No, way past.
I'm about to
No.
cross.
30.
Way past. Yeah, you guys are like, it's all over. So just so that you know, it's all
It's
downhill.
downhill.
It's all downhill
Oh my
today.
God.
Better
Yeah,
to be
for
going
YouTube.
downhill than be very
Noises, man, the noises that you're gonna make just coming out of bed is just gonna be.
Not me. Hey,
So
That's it.
I'm
regimen of
It's the
WD-40.
fact that
Is
I'm
that
the
what it
youngest
is?
person on this podcast.
Based
Just so you
on
get-
what?
Based on
Not
age.
the real numbers.
No,
Anyway, we got a lot to go through. Some very interesting things that we're going to cover today. Some very serious. Some other ones that I don't know. You know what I mean? Hopefully we can help you process a couple of things that are going on out there
Star
at
Wars
this
looking
very
tight.
moment. Say that again.
The tie
You like it?
is, yeah, it's very R2D2.
Very,
BB-8.
very Star Wars. Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
I like it.
It's got like-
For all my Disney
like it.
fans and
Yeah.
friends
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say. it's-
Everybody excited.
I like Star
man.
Wars too,
I hope
I do too.
everybody
Yeah.
likes
Yeah.
the time.
Anyway.
You know, being that I'm getting a compliment after we got started. You know what I mean? Not
Yes.
before, but anyway.
That's good enough.
So guys, there's an incredible video there about the media being extremely afraid about Ron DeSantis, a lot more than they are afraid about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Also,
I like it.
as you know, the Trump that already had 37 criminal charges, and they added
3 more.
additional charges, just in case there was any possibility of this not sticking against the wall. But they adding that. And let me tell you something. They as much as I love some of the other people that are running for the Republican Party, Trump will be, unless the man is shot somewhere, Trump will be the president.
What?
Not giving any ideas to anybody. All right, please. All right,
Oh, they don't
don't
need
go
any
like that guy
ideas.
said it, and like seriously. But this man will be the presidential nominee candidate. Running for the for the Republican Party. There's almost no doubt in my mind. Like I said, unless something drastic happens, or unless Vivek Ramaswamy then
Yeah,
really
my
takes
boy.
it over to the next level. In addition to that, we're gonna cover also the whole meltdown that took place with this Hunter Biden plea deal. Fell apart right in the courtroom. Something that has never happened. I mean, not at that level. Usually, this. It's supposed to be a synchronized dance where everybody's
you
supposed to
hope.
know, right? But that obviously didn't quite work out like that. Not everybody was dancing or willing to or wanting to. In addition to that, we have the 30-year-old, as a matter of fact, first transgender female to be elected in New Hampshire. Former lawmaker waived the arrangements on charges of distribution of child sex abuse images. Stacy Lugton, and we'll just briefly talk about it, especially in light of this movie Sound of Freedom, and some of the same people that are complaining and criticizing has a lot to do with that environment. We're gonna see if we can make a fair assessment. Like, I don't want to do a blanket statement about everybody, but there are some other people that are pushing back. It's incredible. Guys, I don't know if you saw this whole situation with Mitch McConnell.
Yeah. It's pretty
So scary to, like, you know what? I mean, now more and more there's voices about age limit to hold office, you know what I mean? Because you're talking about, I mean, some people were saying he literally just essentially probably had a stroke in front of everyone, you know what I mean? And I don't know what the final
No, he was
health
dizzy.
assessment. I know.
He was
but
lightheaded.
they're not going to. And by the way, it's possible. Listen, you're 82 years old and you're running all that much activity and you're moving all that information and you didn't have your Wheaties in the morning
Yeah.
or whatever type of
Correct.
breakfast you should. But yeah, that's very possible.
It's still a problem though.
It's still a problem. For all the people that enjoy a little bit of this conversation about, it's a little bit of a conspiracy theory though. Like I want to be very, like, I'm not subscribing to this idea, right? So yes, the Obama's chef, you know what I mean, who was a former White House chef, who actually went with them, you know what I mean, after ended up passing away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
45 years old, Mr. Tafari Campbell. He was found dead. This whole suggestion there was only 8 feet of water. I don't know if anybody really knows what 8 feet. This is 8 feet, just so that you know, all the way up here. So it's a lot. It's deep. It's not like it's that shallow. You know what I mean? If they would have said 5 feet of water and the guy drowned, they would have said, okay, there's something wrong here, right? There's a problem. But my issue, right, is that there's a lot of suggestions right now about, again, people that would work with politicians. And these are people that are actually so close to them that they will listen to certain conversations.
Correct.
And then some people are suggesting, well, this was not an accident.
Yeah,
Somebody decided to, we'll go through that. And a couple of things that are really traveling the news, right? Barbie movie is, whether some people like it or not. Listen, we spoke about Barbie as being part of, now American tradition. You know what I mean? Every single one of my daughters at some point had either a Barbie house or a lot of, just about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an undeniable box office, you know what I mean, $337 million globally. And we're going to go into that. My only issue is, even this morning, I'm working out, and I'm looking at one of those channels that I don't even care to mention because they have like 20 TVs running at the same time. And they asking one of the guys, so which movie are you going to go watch this weekend? Is it going to be Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what about Sound of Freedom? Is that doesn't make it into any of the choices? Not even Mission Impossible. Like, I'm okay with, but those are the two movies that for whatever reason they are completely sold out to. I know that you said that you had an experience with Oppenheimer, but anyway, the final thing, guys. The whistleblower, the UFO whistleblower. It's more than one, by the way. It's 3 individuals.
Crazy.
Get a hearing. I want to go over that for a second.
That.
But anyway, let's get some of the stuff out of the way. How about this whole concept that the media right now, whether they understand it or not, they actually created one of the best commercials for Ron DeSantis, which is they saying, he's worse than Trump. He's more intelligent than Trump. He's more of a tactician. He's more technical. He's more savvy. He knows how to negotiate. He knows how to regulate himself. And I like it. The whole mantra was 1,000 times better than Trump.
Who put that thing together?
I have no idea, though. That's what
I'm saying.
Gotta be.
It sounds like it. Although his marketing campaign has been so shitty.
They got this one right, though.
I was gonna say, it's like whoever made that thing, like, you need to hire that guy or girl.
But is that a real assessment, though?
No, he's slipping. Ramaswamy is ahead of him in some polls.
He's
how the hell is nobody?
Well, I mean, but
with a lot of money, he's outworking everybody. By the way,
I mean, and again,
I'm gonna turn it about Vivek.
I got it. No. And I have absolutely no argument about the fact that he's being outworked by by both of those candidates. Donald Trump. The one thing about Donald Trump when he first ran is that he was outworking everybody, right? So now Vivek said, you know what? Let me copy that
playbook.
Let me take a page from your playbook and let me go, and I'm going to be everywhere. Like, if I didn't know better, this guy's got a couple of Indian cousins that are just like look like him, are showing up everywhere. Because he's everywhere, man. Listen, talking about
you're gonna get a lot of hate for that
the
one.
ultimate. I love the guy. By the way, if he had found a way to clone himself and he can absolutely get it done, the ultimate game of duplication. But and by the way, that is the complaint against
Have you
DeSantis.
seen that movie?
You're not.
The second copy was terrible, and the fourth one was the best.
No. That's the complaint against DeSantis, right? Like, the guy's not showing up anywhere. He's not visible.
He took a playbook out of the Biden campaign.
Stay in the basement. I don't know that it's at that level though. I don't want to come down. Guys, we have here in the state of Florida, we can say that we have somebody that may not be 100%.
No, but he's phenomenal.
But he's at this moment, it's very easy to say this guy has to be, if not the best, one of the very best governors in the country.
No, I agree.
That's undeniable.
Yep.
Right? Now, with his experience as a politician, does that make him a more effective and again, better calibrated, more emotionally balanced, capable to work different angles and different sides of the aisle better than Donald Trump. That was the whole argument of it. And that's my question to you guys.
Yep.
Do you absolutely believe that that's the case, or does Donald Trump have the ability to do better than and
So I like Ron. I like Ron. I like him. Will he be better than Trump? I would say I would give him a shot. Like if it's between them two, I'm choosing Ron over Trump. 100%.
That's what you vote. That's
yes,
what you voted
100%.
Okay.
You know,
for me,
yeah.
go ahead.
And then also, as far as him, I think he's doing a lot of the right things. As far as him not being so much out there, I don't think he necessarily needs to right now.
You're saying he doesn't need to be overexposed?
Yeah, and I think every time you do hear about him, it's something big. So I feel like he's being more strategic as far as just being everywhere. He's like, all right, well, the next move I'm gonna make is gonna be a big one, you know. Which he's gonna have to increase his quantity as well. But I think everything he's saying, or every time you do hear about him, is usually something big.
But you know what you're saying right now, and I'm sorry before
Yeah,
you jump in. What you're saying right now is precisely how the presidential election for George W. Bush was ran.
Okay.
Because I mean, later on, everybody found out that he struggles more than me when it comes to speaking English, right?
Yeah.
And later on, everybody else found out that maybe he wasn't that right.
Yes,
Right? I mean, not
correct.
the best communicator, not the best this that. So they kept him off certain things to avoid reasons to be attacked, to avoid controversy, or to avoid displaying the fact that he struggled with a lot of things. You know what I mean? And so.
But that's not that's precisely the reason. Like it doesn't matter whether he's more qualified or not. That whatever is happening right now is the problem. There is somebody else is speaking steam faster than him. Yeah. So and you can be all strategic that you want, Ron, but it's like culture eats strategy for breakfast. You know, and so who has a badass culture? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, who is actually creating a lot of momentum culture-wise? Vivek. Yeah. That dude is everywhere. He got like, I don't know. He had that interview at the Breakfast Club. Like he is everywhere where he should be and where he should not be. And whenever you have those two things, those two candidates that are going at it, you trying to be strategic. I personally don't think that that's what he's doing. He's just failing to launch. That's the way that I'm saying, and that's the way that I see it. And it's a terrible tactical mistake. For somebody that's very strategic, I don't think that that's it. He has no culture. It's as vanilla as it gets with Ron DeSantis.
The only thing I'll say that I don't agree with, I think a part of his culture is negative on purpose. And what I mean by that is, like, I think he's creating haters. And haters make you famous at the end of the day. Sure. And the more people you can get to not like you, the more people are going to talk about you. So it may not be a good culture he's creating, but I think he's creating some type of culture.
Well, who has the bigger hater culture right now?
Between Trump and... Yeah, definitely Trump. Yeah.
So definitely. It's at that. If that's the tactical thing that he's going after, he's failing at it. So
no, but I don't think...
We still got time.
By the way, I'm so freaking grateful. I'm still in the state of Florida because of Ron DeSantis. I made a decision to stay here. All of these different things that are happening. Like, I'm forever grateful that that dude was here during COVID. Like, I do not want to discredit him. This is not going well for him.
I feel like right now, people are feeling more sorry for Trump. Even me, even myself, I felt like they're going after him again.
Which they're humanizing him.
Yeah, but right now, the person who's going to get the most backlash, oh no, we're hating on this guy for no reason. I feel like Ron, he might be, leading the way as far
the
as,
way to deal with it is just to be like, let me go ahead and just let them talk. Nah. Like the fact that somebody put out there that Kamala was saying that something about the rule that he made for the schools was like the people that wrote it down, it was very racist. He distanced himself with it, but it's like that is a failure on leadership as well. You created this thing, lead it and see it through. He's like, oh no, I'm not responsible for writing this thing. That was it, and you didn't hear anything about it.
No.
What did he do?
That's not exactly what happened. What happens is her statement was extremely dishonest. Extremely dishonest.
I agree.
Because it's not any of those things.
I agree.
It's not any of those things.
You're right.
This whole idea that is a racist approach to education is the most dishonest statement that anybody who actually seriously read any of these documents
Right.
can actually claim. And but
what did he do?
but no, but that's my position.
Uh-huh.
But even when he said, you know what I mean, that is he's clearly supporting the position. He's not the statement of I'm not the one that wrote any of these things, but I'm definitely the person who was promoting, supporting, encouraging, and in many ways participating in the process of developing the positions, because that point he made, you know what I mean, and he also came out in different TV shows defending his position. Now he's got to do more of it, right? Because he's only going. Here's the problem, right? He's going to only friendly places where the people that are listening to his answer are the people that already know the answer, right? You got to go to where the people have no clue as to whether or not you actually have a clear position about that. So it's not that he's not defending it. It's that he's not defending it in the right places, per se. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going enough.
That is still a failure of leadership.
No, 1,000%. I think that, we can agree on the fact. But remember, my question was not, who's more hated, who's more popular, who's a novelty. In many ways, Donald Trump was a novelty. You know what I mean? So the new business guy, outspoken, a so-called good negotiator, right? Vivek is the new novelty. You know what I mean? And in an incredible, well-rounded, even better novelty than what Donald Trump was. You know what I mean? What's the difference? This guy's willing to go anywhere, sit down with anybody, have a conversation, have a debate with anybody, and I have never seen it in a situation where he actually lost the argument. His worst case scenario, his worst performance moment was like, you know what? I'm going to look into that just a little more because my position about it is this, but what you're suggesting is something, it's like a new perspective. So he's willing to concede there is something about that,
yeah.
which
respect.
Not only is better than that. What he's willing to concede is there might be something there that I need to learn a little more about, and that is like the best. Like you go like, whoa, who is this guy? That's the moment where you start saying exactly. That's a good CEO approach. Now, guys, we're talking about running the country. We're talking about understanding how this political machine, this political system actually works, you know what I mean? And then you have somebody that was able to take a state that was okay, we were doing well, but he really managed to get it to a place where it's better. Right now, the state of Florida is one of the
manage a crisis.
Top destinations for people to move to for business reasons, employment reasons, housing reasons. I mean, you name it. You can go down the list of reasons to move to the state of Florida. So now, how do you take that to a presidential level? I'm telling you, I'm making that comparison and I know that it sounds a little crazy, but sometimes the best thing for you to do is to do less. Sometimes for you, the best thing to do is to say less, and because the level of controversy that can be very easily introduced between the position. And even to say too early to be attacked, the problem is you highlighted right now something extremely important. Numbers are numbers. And right now, he's definitely dropping in certain areas. And he's got it's not just a question of dropping, and the main guy is just all the way up there. Trump remains where he has been for a long time. But there's somebody else gaining momentum where he's very close to not being the number two guy.
The piece of the pie is shrinking from him, and somebody's getting.
And that's what he's going to have to decide as to where to pay attention. But I'm going to tell you, that's probably one of the most effective videos that I have seen that is pro DeSantis. You know what I mean? So that on terms, like you're saying, that limited marketing and all that kind of stuff. But I think, listen, I wish him well. I mean, I think that at some point he will be the president of this country. I don't know if it's going to be this time around.
And he'll probably do a phenomenal job.
I don't know. Guys, remember what I said to you the last conversation that we had about this, is I don't know if and it's hard to say this without discrediting the person, right? But when it comes to, if you're one of the people that everybody's saying that you are a real potential candidate and that you should be running, it's like you almost have to run, even if you're not running to win. but you got to run to get the exposure to understand even the process a little better, so that when you actually making the run, because I don't think that for me, when I'm looking at all the stuff that's not being done, the only explanation that I have is that he's not looking at this election as the one where he feels confident that he's going to win. It's just kind of like a setup type of thing, and he's still very clear in the back of his head that this is a Trump election.
That's fair. But nobody should be like expecting him to. There is no urgency right now in his campaign and whatever he's doing. That's the only thing that I'm saying. So whether he can run the country better or not, it really doesn't matter, because if you are not getting yourself out there, it doesn't matter if you have the best product. Like,
Correct.
Without Wozniak created the freaking computer. I watched Jobs the other day, the movie, and it's like Wozniak had a computer that was doing stuff, and the dude's like, I was just solving my problem, and Steve Jobs was like, why don't we solve everybody's problem? Yeah. That computer, if without Jobs, it would have never been out there. Correct. And so the same thing happens here. He could have the biggest, best way of running things, but if you don't get out there and you don't actually market, I
know it doesn't look well, but just think about what I'm telling you. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I believe you.
There's a strong possibility that will be the case. You know what I mean? And I also know. Remember that tactic already worked for a few people, including Joe Biden, who was hiding in a basement for the most part. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we're talking about Donald Trump doing a political rally with like 30,000 people somewhere, and Joe Biden with like 7 people. And they were saying, look, that's somebody who's COVID responsible, you know what I mean? Distancing, they don't want the crowds. They're like, no, he couldn't get more than 7 people to show up whenever he actually decided to come out of the basement. He still got elected with more votes than any other president ever got, right? But removing that catastrophe out of the way, right? You still have another president that took place with George W. Bush. Mm-hmm. It was so well measured. Like,
was it during the primaries though?
The primaries and in the actual election. The primaries, the guy you barely saw. Like, he wouldn't do interviews. He wouldn't do. It's only when they realized this guy is gonna gain momentum. You know what I mean? And he's gonna become that person that then what they call now, once he became the candidate, right? Even once he's running, remember he was running against the vice president Al Gore, right? And they were like, there's no way in hell. There's no, this is going to be an easy. Bill Clinton wasn't upset for the scandals, right? It wasn't necessarily a bad president, you know what I mean? So and the whole thing, they ran it just like that. Just extreme. The whole idea was to be efficient enough to be out there, but so scripted that you couldn't make any mistakes at all, whatsoever. Yeah. So, but anyway, guys.
Like I said,
you just also mentioned something. We can dive right into the whole situation with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You saying something right now that I really believe is going to backfire against Democrats. They are humanizing this man.
Yes.
They are making this guy likable. This guy now went from being the hated bully-like type of person to becoming the underdog that everybody wants to come and rally for. Right? Is that? Your assessment,
100%,
perception?
And it becomes interesting. That's the best word I can think of. When you realize, like they're trying to go after everything with this guy. It's like, nope, he had his windows down too low. His window tint was too much. Like, what? It's it's just So it's like it's ridiculous what they're like. I was listening to the news the other day, and they were talking about how he had plans of going into Afghanistan for a defense. I was like, it just made no sense. It made zero sense. I'm like, wait a minute. If this is the president, shouldn't they have different plans to? And besides the fact he's like, oh, well, I didn't have these papers. It was just ridiculous. So I think they're just trying to find every tactic possible to, and then that makes me cautious because now I'm like, okay, well, why are you going after him? What are you trying to do? So it's crazy.
So for me, here's the way that I look at it. First, you idolize. I mean, when Trump came in, picked up momentum, he was a novelty, boom, idolization. Then you demonize, and the media is adding fuel to the fire, to all of that stuff. Everybody goes, and then you humanize, right? And so it's like, when it comes to that, yeah, they are making him 100% likable at the same speed that he picked up the novelty, then at the same speed that he picked up all the hate with all the angry tweets and all that stuff, that at the same speed they're actually moving him into the fact that it's holy, that really sucks what they're doing.
No,
to
but
this
this is a little different though, because this is the same people that hated him before. The media always, and some people are saying, listen, what did you think was going to happen, right? You kept saying fake news. What do you think you're gonna get, right? You're gonna get nothing.
He affirmed it
Right.
into reality. That's funny.
And by the way,
yeah,
in many ways, he ended up proving just about every single one of his points. You know, you give it enough time, and everybody will see. Okay, this is actually got validated, right?
Yeah.
But that's it's beyond that. Is that the whole thing is that those people from the very beginning, I mean, after he makes the announcement coming out that escalator, everybody goes like, this guy's done. There's no way. And he was attacked for everything. Racism, you name it, right? Man, they went through just about every person that used to work for him to see if they would find any dirt as a bad employer. Yeah. And the guy turned out to be nothing but phenomenal stories, you know what I mean? That everybody would say, listen, the whole story about even the winery, right? From all of those things, right? The
Mondavi?
Yeah, exactly. The Mondavi family saying, listen, we would have been out of business if it wasn't because of this guy, right? And so, but the people that hated him still there, and the people who supported him from day one, and loved him from day one, and liked him from day one, they also still there. I don't think he lost any. What changed though? What was different here is that now you have the mechanism, the entities that he used to govern as a president coming after him.
Right, and so what they're not taking into account is that
it's just not the people. You know what I'm saying?
I get it, and that's precisely the point. So it's like they were able to rally. It's all about recruiting. Yeah. They were able to rally to like hate, right? And then all of a sudden they continue with that hate, but they are not taking into account that America loves building up a hero. And so guess what? This guy went to the lowest freaking point, and now they're pushing him, they're doing their that, and everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute. So they're humanizing him for the American people. Whoever's going after him, they're going after him for whatever reasons they have.
But you know what American people love more than building up a hero? You know what they love the most?
Making them fall?
Both,
They love a comeback.
Right.
More than anything else, you can. The American people is part of the American fiber to say, you fell, but
Rocky,
if you can make a comeback, man, we're gonna rally around you. But because it's institutional. Listen, for me, these entities is self-preservation. It's pure self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that at this point they truly fear
what's going to happen.
They truly fear that he's going to do some of the things that Vivek is saying that he's going to do. Because Vivek, at this point, I don't know if there's going to be any branch of government that he's not going to dismantle based on what he's saying, right?
No
but,
FBI,
but I don't know that they're afraid of him. I think they definitely fear that if Trump comes in, he's going to absolutely make sure that what happened to him shouldn't happen to anybody else ever again.
So with the whole comeback thing, I don't know if he's fell far enough to say that it is a comeback. Yeah. I think most people still look
What do you
at
mean?
him.
All your dirty laundry is
it doesn't
being...
matter. Doesn't matter.
Even if it's not dirty, they're like, here's a little bit of dirt.
Wait a minute.
What I'm saying is
the only thing that's missing... The
Like-
only thing that's missing is for him to get pulled over on the highway because his tinted...
But
too dark.
How much lower?
Go to jail.
Then every
And
African American is going to go, you know what?
Yep.
That's too much.
That's right.
Correct. We know exactly how you feel, right?
So the next move is for Trump to go to jail for real.
Yes, but until then, I feel like most people will still look at him as somebody who's on the way down, hasn't hit rock bottom, and people like that. Yeah. They want to see, like, think about it. It's like the person, like,
there
for whatever
no
reason.
Bottom.
No, I know, right? But
that is crazy.
It's like Floyd Mayweather, right?
He's 2 hearings away from being in an orange jumpsuit.
No, but that's what they want to see. People want to see. I don't know why, but people want to see the person at the top who they felt like was causing all their problems, even though it's not true. They want to see that person get taken out. They want to see Humpty Dumpty fall off the wall. And I don't think he's fell all the way yet. So then I'm not sure. Like me, I'm looking at it like, oh man, that's kind of messed up what they're doing. But I think the average person is like, they're happy still.
So you know what Donald Trump's real problem is?
What's that?
It's that his name is not Hunter Biden.
Mm.
If that was his name,
Yeah.
none of these things would be going
Libra por
on.
todo.
You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, he could probably be selling a few paintings, you know what I mean? Or doing something very artistic,
Of
maybe
himself.
a little more, of himself to top it off, you know what I mean? And
And
make it
make
into.
this.
So that whole plea deal for Hunter Biden fell apart, guys, you know what I mean? And one of the most remarkable things is that it actually happened at the court, inside the courtroom, the day after one of his own attorneys tried to discredit the whistleblowers from IRA. They were trying to get some of the statements that were already accepted to be removed or invalidated, and pretending to be calling for the. I mean, it's just a disaster. Like I don't even know how those attorneys will not get disbarred. The thing is that the judge was already not happy by the time she got to, and started to ask a few simple questions. Do you have any additional charges that will potentially come after, especially the foreign act? You know what I mean? For and they said, well, yeah, we might have additional charges in the future. So this is not covering that. And in a very
And everybody was like,
in a very arrogant way, though, because that to me was an extremely. They should have taken that deal and just walked out of it and live another day and fight another fight later. Because the fact that they literally were willing to just say, oh, then you know what, then we don't want the deal. If it doesn't cover this that we have going on right now and any potential future, foreign interference, because this is a guy who by now is no secret. You know what I mean? Not only that he's involved with a lot of stuff that came in from overseas, but it's making it very clear that his father is also somebody. At this point, it's undeniable. There's something truly happened there, and anybody that doesn't want to see that, you can be as blind as you want to be, right? But at the end of the day, that is the real reality.
Yeah.
Nobody gets the deal that he got. Nobody. There's not a single person, any other person. There's no record in history for anybody at that level to be able to get such a good deal, and they so arrogantly they said, "Oh, we won't take it." But this truly opens the door for something that can put the whole family in a very risky position.
Yeah.
Because now they can go through a process where disclosing certain things that would have been kept private. That's not going to be the case anymore.
Yeah.
So. I don't know, distraction, real issue, real problem. I think that this guy is a big distraction for a lot of the other problems that we have going on. But at the same time, this is a ticking time bomb that is going to really implode within this administration.
well, I know that you're suggesting also, like in previous conversations, that it may be a very controlled detonation that they're trying to do in case this whole thing with Biden goes south.
Correct.
It's for me, there's a lot of hope there. When I heard these things come down, the number one thing that I said is like, no, there's a little bit of hope.
The moment that they announced that there was no more
there was
plea deal,
no,
the whole
yeah, that
deal
not
imploded.
even
The
that.
whole thing imploded.
The fact that this lady called it out.
Yeah.
The fact that this lady called it out is like, not everything is lost.
Correct.
Because I've seen it in my country. Things like that happen all of the time, and it just whoop. It's called in the insurance industry, we
Correct.
call it sliding, right? I thought I was buying this thing, and they put a bunch of shit in there, and they hid it, they tucked it away. That's exactly what they wanted to do with this deal. So respect to the judge, who happened to be a Trump appointee, which is, the reason why being out there and being vocal, going back to DeSantis, matters, because being elected is important, so you can do things like that, so we don't lose our country. But it was very libro por todo. Like, I felt like I was having, playing a little kid's game, and it's like all of this, and I'm not gonna none of that stuff. It's like everything gets forgiven. There's a lot of corruption that is obviously happening that for this other guy, for Trump, they're actually trying to pull it out somewhere, somehow. And on this side, Biden is very evident, you know. The language from the White House correspondent went from I never spoke to my father, or
Correct.
Hunter and Joe never spoke about business, to now I never been in business with my, as a family, you know. And so all of that stuff, like, the whole rules for thee and not for me at this very moment happens to be like, now there is rules for you.
But
as
you know
well.
what scares me? Like somebody like Alexi is not, you are not used to. You truly are not used to, and you haven't seen the worst of the worst when it comes to the highest level of corruptions that happen
true.
within government. We know
Yeah.
how that, like in my country, like, so when this whole situation was happening with Bill Clinton, I'm like, what's the problem? He had an older girl, he had a lover. I'm like, so what's the problem? Like,
That's
in my
normal.
country,
What do you
yeah,
mean?
if you're the
That's-
president of Honduras,
Yeah.
you expect it to have a couple of girls around, and like, it's just part of the whole thing. It's like, you know, they found drugs in the White House, so
Oh,
what's
he's
the
got a little
problem?
bit of, yeah. It's like,
He's the guy that's drilling
Who's
with all the,
Saturday?
like, do you understand it? Like, the most people.
there's extra money somewhere. How bad is it? Like, how much is it? Where did it come from?
Former,
Like-
one of the former presidents of Honduras that was actually removed out of power, he was videotaped dragging personally a pallet of cash. Like he was literally like bro, you see those things that you can pick up the pallet.
yeah,
like he's dragging the whole thing, and it's being videotaped from the Central Bank of
A
Honduras.
hydraulic dolly.
And yeah. And guess who's the president today? His wife. and so how do you explain that to people? How did you watch the video and like, oh, like, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
The problem is that we as a country here, we are getting too close to that.
I get you.
And we already started to get used to the whole idea that this is somewhere somehow normal, and it's not. It is not. But this level of corruption,
Yeah.
though. By the way, listen.
By the way-
Every government
Does it?
has some level of corruption. The question is, the whole Iran controversy with Ronald Reagan. We were selling weapons to this country to send money to be able to help the rebels that were fighting against essentially a country about to become communist, right? So I'm like, I don't have an issue with that. Like, what's the problem? Like, no, you know. So then you go down to the nitty gritty of the legalities and how the law, and like, all right, so yeah, that doesn't look well, right? That's different than taking bribes. That's different than, you know,
$100 million paintings.
accounts
And being appointed to.
accounts that
Yeah.
they say that there is so many accounts that were set up that it would be almost impossible to trace it all back. I don't believe that, but they're saying that it's not going to be an easy scenario.
Yeah.
It was as complicated as the little tiny baggie of coke.
Yeah, exactly. But
Very
here's
difficult.
my point, though. The American people at some point will get desensitized.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to think that this is normal.
Yeah.
Just like every other country outside of our borders think that level of corruption is border. That would be the most unfortunate moment, because at that point, if you think that we have bad people running the country,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
about to get way worse.
you know what? Talking about corrupt politicians, this whole Stacey Lunton arrested, first transgender female to be elected. I'm not gonna go along and play with this transgender game, though. Like, I'm respectful of people. I'll deal with people with the highest level of respect I always had. But there is a game that's being played right now that I'm just not willing to be a part of it. And this whole situation, as a matter of fact, in light of we just finished watching this movie that just about everybody's trying to bury somewhere and make it go away as soon as possible. The Sound of Freedom that deals with human trafficking and child sex abuse
sex
images,
abuse,
right? They highlight
they open the movie.
the incredible level exactly
Yeah,
how
it's crazy.
the pornographic images of children just has exploded, right, tremendously. And here you have this guy,
Yeah.
right, that showing up to and I'm sorry if you like I said, there's certain things that I'm not going to go along with. You know, this is when the majority has chosen to become silent about things that are nonsensical.
Yeah.
This and by the way, this I hope an example is made out of this kind of situation. But when it comes to anybody, whether it's political or private sector or political sector or anything, anybody that gets involved in light of everything that's being highlighted, especially through these movies at this moment, is not forgivable.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you.
I'm gonna say something. It's very TMC.
Go ahead.
It's really bad, but I don't really care. I'm like, yo, two things. This dude is 38 years old.
Yeah.
He looks like lo redaron espichado. You know, he looks like he's like 50 something. And it's not ugly. It's like, so undergoing transition is definitely not a good thing. Because he was not a pretty dude and he was not a pretty lady.
You saw the picture of it.
It's so bad, man.
It's not going
so
well.
so
It's
that's
not a good
jacked up. And number two,
That's
like,
when you
if
realize that not even makeup can help you sometimes.
no, there's no way. And so all of a sudden, it's like if you were to like put in the dictionary a picture of a child sex offender, like that would be the picture that I would be expecting.
to mind.
Yeah, it's like number one. I'm like, wow, what the heck is going on? You know, it sucks. There is an attack on our values and principles, and what you were saying about the desensitization that is happening to corruption.
Correct.
We are way light years ahead when it comes to all of these different things about values and principles. So this is a shitty situation, and you know, I don't think it's even gonna get talking about rules for thee enough for me because it's such a protected.
Too many people bought into it, though. Too many people, too many organizations, too many companies, too many.
There's a lot of money and there's a lot of protection happening
so
there. So it's like, God knows.
I'm gonna go into something that's probably gonna be bigger than it needs to be, but I'm gonna go into it anyway. So one is definitely not a good look for the trans community when you see stuff like this coming out. But I think this is an issue that's bigger than this one individual.
But the way, like, that's not like the it just sucks because there's really true people that suffer with gender dysphoria.
No. No matter what, it's just not a good look.
I do believe that, and it's like, but you gotta freaking like what the hell?
So then here's the bigger issue that I think is going on, is that unfortunately, it's people like this who create laws and who are like running the country, you know, and they're doing it in a number of ways. And it's like, I think this is just one small thing that we're noticing, but almost like the movie, we didn't realize this was some people knew, but not everybody knew. This is a bigger issue going on. So it's not an isolated thing. A lot of times when people think of, sex trafficking or child slavery, they think it's something that's isolated or it's only going on there or it's not as big of an issue as it is. I think it's a way bigger thing going on. And I think when you see things like, wait a minute, this person was making laws and this is the same person.
Well, leading a church, by the way.
You get multiple reasons why this is a problem, right?
What the heck?
But then it goes even further. So then we didn't even talk about it yet, but the movie with Barbie, right? That is even a part of the issue.
We can go right into it.
You know, because watch this. People like when I went to the theaters, I seen that there was a bunch of people dressed up in pink. No big deal, whatever. I didn't think it was gonna be that big. I was like, wow, this is a big deal. But who is Barbie made for? Right? Barbie is made for kids. Yeah. Even though I seen a bunch of adults there was Barbie is made for kids. So then now you got a bunch of grown people, right? Who
actually the feedback that I'm getting is that usually is the ratio of grown-ups next to children watching the movie right now is like 85-15 on terms of the amount of grown-ups that are watching the movie.
Yes.
Like you're saying, this is supposed to be a product for children.
Yep.
And the people that are going to watch this movie are just grown-ups.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And,
correct.
And the children.
But here's my point.
And wearing pink, as you said.
100%.
I'm trying to understand that.
No, like at the end of the day, I'm not mad. It's whatever. Yeah. Do your thing. But here's my point. There's a bunch of
understand everything about how many houses you bought? You have 3 girls. They all pink.
Yeah,
everything is
pink.
extra duper uber pink. I don't think she owned black. Like, there was no emo Barbie ever. Sorry.
So here it goes. Here's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of adults today going out doing things that if it was a bunch of kids doing it, you would see an issue, right? With what they're wearing, with what they're doing. But this is made for kids. That is my point. So then they make Barbie in itself. They over-sexualize it, and then this is what they show the kids. Why? Because they're trying to teach the kids This is what you need to be like. So then now when those same kids grow up, now the kids are doing the things.
Desensitize themselves.
Correct. So then I feel like it's the same people who's into child porn, who's supporting things like Barbie, right? To say, all right, here's what we need to do. And I get it, it's big. Here's what we need to do. We need to find a way to do something that's supposed to be for adults, but put it in the heads of the kids so that these kids turn into what we want them to turn into. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's a big thing that's going on. And the problem is that there are major corporations who are contributing to this. There are, like, the same people who want Barbie to be one of the biggest movies are the same people, unfortunately, who are involved in this whole sex trafficking thing that's
I think that
on.
we're playing a more dangerous game than that. You know what I mean? I think that unfortunately, though, there are people that are trying to decide where is the limit, or over sexualizing. Where is the limit about a message that essentially emancipates men? Where is the limit about how to emasculate a man? Where is the limit also about what was at some point meant to be a feminine movement, right? That would put them in a position of, again, liberation, greater control, greater mobility. Where's the limit of something that goes from being that, that opens the door to certain things, to the point that opens the doors to very bad things, right? And the problem is that when you start playing God at that level, right? You don't know exactly where the line is, right? What I'm trying to say is that a lot of times certain things even appear to be by perfect design, and I think that sometimes it's just by perfect stupidity. You know what I mean? Where somebody was just playing a game that eventually loses control. And by the way, the ultimate
unintended consequence.
Yeah, the unintended consequences of certain things. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. There are some people that say, "Listen, we're gonna push it." Just the dress. When it first came out, the dress was all the way down to the ankles.
Yeah,
right now it's like,
there's
I'm
no
like,
dress.
bro, that's not a miniskirt. They put some clothes into that.
Booty shorts.
Like, you know what I mean? And so it's getting there. So the sexualizing part of the message, right, is the scary part, because again, this is designed for children, and if you're exposing it to that much level of sexual activity or perspective, then the risk is you're opening the door to something that you don't know. You're normalizing, again,
Correct,
you're normalizing
correct. Yep.
certain things. That's the scary part. But I don't know. Listen,
pretty crazy.
I haven't seen the movie. You know what I mean? I
still
know
wanna see it.
I know that you definitely plan to watch. To be quite honest with you, I'll take your
It's
feedback.
a PG-13 movie.
That's cool.
When you come back, are you gonna go watch it?
No, I don't know.
I know.
I want to see it. Anything that everybody watches, I want to know what they're even regardless of whether I want to see it or not. Any movie that's like a super popular movie, I'm gonna watch it because I want to know what everybody else is seeing.
I understand what you're saying, but I also am a firm believer that you vote with your money, you vote with your dollars, you vote with your feet. So it's like I have no problem watching it. I'll probably watch it when it comes out.
So
I don't have it.
So what you just
bootlegged. That's funny.
How old are you?
I'm only 30.
When you go in there, put a camera, I watch make it a zoom.
So what you just said right now is the main reason why there are certain countries that I wouldn't travel. There's certain things that I wouldn't purchase. And this is a movie that I would be very happy to get your feedback from. It have to be to a point that it was so downplayed, so out of the whole thing that I think that at this point I can get enough information about the movie to opposed to finding myself essentially supporting the amount. I mean, globally they already collected $337 million. So it's not, for all intended purpose, the movie is a commercial success.
Success.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it, money-wise, but again, when you start thinking about what is that said about the things that we are attracted to. You know
Can
what
I tell you something though?
Yeah.
Look, with all of the money that was put in there, because it takes a lot of money to put a display for somebody to not only have it in every freaking poster, but then the little box where people are taking pictures right now. That's a lot of marketing dollars that are going into there.
Yeah.
Here is where I'm like, freaking future looks bright. Here's where future looks bright and where I I'm not losing the hope, just like with the whole thing in the judge in the Biden deal. Here's where I'm not losing hope. Sound of Freedom is at 134 million.
Correct.
And not a single
Zero,
sign.
not
There's
one
not
poster,
a. So people talking to people.
Yeah.
We're passing it along. Hey,
Yeah.
why don't you pay for this? Have
Yeah.
somebody go see it. That brings me a lot of freaking hope.
Correct.
Because I think we don't need to have everybody.
Correct.
But we need to have enough people to say this shit ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I do, it's like I'm not in the position where I'm like I'm gonna take your word for it. I do wanna watch it. I just don't wanna put more fuel into this fire right now.
Got it.
But I do wanna watch it because you're absolutely right. I believe in reading both sides
To
of the
try
equation.
to understand. No, I get
Yeah.
it.
So-
But I think that I can get
and I wanna
enough
form my own opinion.
feedback to
Yeah.
and I'll take it. Just like at this very moment, like I said, if I get to the point of watching it, it's gonna be something that, again, it was I'm at some point going from the news to this thing finally made it to
TV.
cable TV
Yeah.
or
Boom.
whatever. You
Yeah.
know, so.
Uh-huh.
But anyway,
Yeah.
guys, the only thing worse than a corrupt politician that's taking place is a politician that is losing their cognitive abilities. I'm gonna tell you, I watched that moment,
Yeah.
and it's a very scary situation. Is people
So
talk
sad.
about an elderly person that would just almost go into limbo. It's
Yeah.
like staring at nothing, unable
Yeah.
to utter. You know what I mean? Even the asking for help, you're just not able to.
Yeah.
They have to gently come up to him, trying to get. And obviously, they want to minimize the embarrassment, but also the what politically. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's an
It's a huge
incredible
impact.
liability. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And but painful to watch. We have the same scenario going on with Feinstein. Now the case of this man, and the worst
Yeah.
situation out of all of them is our current president. And so age limit
Yeah.
is something that a lot of people are talking about it. I think that it's gonna pick up enough momentum. I hope.
Yeah.
Where there's got to be some level of listen, people are living older, healthier, eating better, but at some point though, it's not even a question of can your body. I mean, these guys, they do put a significant amount of hours. It's
Yeah.
not an easy job to do. By all, like you got to process an incredible amount of information, and you got to have enough people to help you process that information around, and then you got to do something with it, right? As you playing the political game at every single level that is required. At some point, when your body is exhausted and you don't have the strength, the physical strength anymore, and then your mental game is going at the way that
way
it's
heavier.
at some point you literally this is a moment where this could have been the simple detachment or a simple scenario where not enough sleep, probably a terrible breakfast. I mean, this couldn't be. It's not that it was triggered probably by something. Some people are talking about. He probably had a stroke in front of everybody, or I don't know that was the case. I haven't seen anything medically that confirms that.
No,
But
will
it
it
could
come
have been
out?
triggered. You know what I mean? By something very simple, because the man is that fragile at this point.
He's 81 years old.
82.
82. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so for me, it's an interesting situation. So even with my grandfather, my grandfather, he had Alzheimer's, and I was pretty much watching him last couple years of his life. And I remember when he was going through the transition of being himself to not being himself, and a lot of people around him were in denial. Like, I remember he got to the point to where he couldn't remember how to get to work anymore, right? But then here's what happened. They just started taking him to work, and I'm like, maybe if he don't know how to get there,
He shouldn't be working.
And
Right.
it got to the point to where like I had to literally tell everybody, no, he can't work anymore. Like we're done with this. This part of his life is over. He's not gonna work anymore. But that was me coming from the outside
quite
looking at. You
amazing.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
so then now the people who are around him all the time, they don't want to believe it. So even when you see little signs and symptoms of it, you don't want to believe it, or you just don't realize it's that bad.
Got it.
And then so I think a lot of the times when you see somebody who's like the person you love or your family member, or I've been working with this person for so long, you don't want to believe that they're like getting older. Do you get what I'm saying? And
Correct,
then
correct.
it could be where this is a problem that they probably seen signs and symptoms of way earlier, but no one's gonna say anything because you don't want to be the person. And them themselves, they're not gonna tell you because they going through their own process. So you got to be the one to tell them, hey, it's time. You got to stop.
Yeah.
And then my grandmother, on the other hand, I have a grandmother who's still alive now. She's 92, and she's in her right mind. Like, she's smarter than me. I'm not gonna lie.
She's still throwing chancletas around.
But would I trust her to like run a business? No, or be no, absolutely not. Yeah. So even though she's the smartest person that I know, everything is still going great with her. At 92, no, we're not going to do that. Correct, so 100%. I said this many a times. I think if you can't be a president at 25 because you're too young, I would say 75, or really I would double it from 36 to 72. That should be the limit.
Brother, there's people like life expectancy in the U.S. is 77.8. That's life expectancy. So if you're in government, past your life expectancy, like that is that is. By the way, where is the next generation? And are you creating the space where you can be like, okay, guys, come on in? Because if you're so concerned about the country taking shitty, like going into a bad place because you gotta be in charge because you're the oldest, guess what? How are you training? How are you field training the next generation to say, step up, bro? You gotta wake up because I'm not gonna be here sooner. That passing the baton thing is not happening right now.
Yeah, I agree. Correct. So, like I said, it's a difficult situation no matter how you look at it. But I think 100%, there's no reason why we don't already have laws in place for that. Because we have it for too young.
We will have
so
to
why don't we have it for
very
too old?
specific?
Even like
no
driving,
one was expected to live.
Like, I think once you reach a certain age, you shouldn't drive. Or you should have to retest again for you to say, okay, now you can drive. I don't want to, and it's messed up. I'll see somebody driving, like, why is this person driving 10 miles an hour?
But can I tell you?
And then I see
they're like,
yes.
You have to sit underneath the steering wheel.
Like, messed up.
Like,
it shouldn't happen.
No.
But can I tell you? I mean, there's another component here. It's like at some point, if we play this, if you play it back, and you really look at the whole thing, you can't help but to feel sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that was my grandpa.
I mean, there's like at some point somebody like if I was a family member, I'm like, bro, that's
please,
it. Like I don't want if you're my father, if you're my grandfather, if you're like I don't want to see you like that ever again.
Yeah.
Especially being exposed at that level. Yeah. So sometimes though, is I don't fault the person for trying. Right? I mean, I don't fault somebody that absolutely believes, whether it's, if you want to be cynical about it and said, man, these people are so corrupt that they want to take the last possible dime and have the last little ounce of power that they can, whatever you want to call that in that end, right? But in the other side, you also have some people that say, man, I'm going to go out until the last second and I'm going to do as much as I can because I believe that I'm called to do this, or I should be doing it. I don't know where this man falls, right? There's a lot of things that can be very heavily criticized.
By the way, this man, it doesn't matter what political affiliation you have. Yeah. Right. At the end of the day, regardless of whether you're on one side or the other, it's not right. Period.
That was painful. Yeah. I truly hope that he will step down, and I truly hope that
By the way, that's a seat that flips if he steps down.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Somebody. Like, it's going to have to be somebody else to come and say, hey, it's time to back it up.
Well,
I think it's written in the Constitution, at least for the president, that it's like if you're not cognitively able to
they're going to have to prove it, though.
You have to prove it.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, there's only two other things that I wanted to touch upon before we get out of here. Mm-hmm. So as you know, again, the chef for the Obama family passed away. I would say one of them because I think that there's more than one person that is always connected to. But this is somebody that there's usually about 4 to 5 chefs working at the White House at all times, and it's not unusual that a relationship is actually established, or the president will bring somebody specifically, and that person will still go and follow. That this appears to be one of those cases where the relationship was actually established. And the moment they left, and hey, why don't you come with us? Yeah. And he decided to say, why not, right? Yeah, because it's at least it's supposed to be an easier operation. He dies, 45 years old, a young man. You look at his picture, he looks extremely healthy, strong. You know what I mean? Like it's somebody that it's not that person that was extremely overweight or not that person that was whatever the case may be. Paddle boating implies that that at some point you're gonna be at some level where if you don't know how to swim, that you're gonna go into waters where you can actually drown.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole idea that at some point they were saying he didn't know how to swim, and then there are images about him swimming in a pool very well.
Very
right?
well, yeah.
So the whole conspiracy theory came in, and it was immediately connected to the many people that already died connected to the Clinton family, because that's a list, but that's a list of people, right?
Undeniable, yeah.
But this is like the first time that it's connected to the Obamas. I don't know that would be a fair assessment to connect it to those things. However, we always talk about, some of the biggest conversations, some of the most secret conversations happen at the kitchen table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the most meaningful decisions are made at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
So some people say, well, sometimes somebody hears something or sees something that other people. And that's where the whole conspiracy theory is going. I don't want to subscribe to that. It doesn't look well that they were trying to say, oh, he didn't know how to swim, and then videos come out. That like, I don't know why they would rush to make certain. It's almost like trying to immediately blame the person opposed to. By the way, it could have been something as simple as, falling the wrong way and collapsing.
Himself in the head.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the body having, I don't know. You know what I mean? I just don't. What's your take on this, guys?
So, I definitely think it's some kind of conspiracy going on, honestly, and I think it's unfortunate, like you were saying, like there's more and more corruption happening in politics, and I think it's even bigger than I think we assume it is, or think it is, or see that it is. So I think it's definitely something that's seems weird, because if I'm gonna be paddleboarding, I know how to swim. If I don't know how to swim, I'm not going in the water like that. Like, no, I'm not going surfing if I don't know how to swim. And
at night.
Shouldn't you have like a life jacket?
Something, but I'm just not gonna do it. But forget that, I'm not even doing it. Like, if I don't know how to swim, I might be scared to go in a pool, much less a lake or an ocean. That's too much. So I think it's definitely something weird going on. But I don't think that has anything to do with Obama necessarily. Do you get what I'm saying? And when you're in certain circles, there's a lot of people in the room.
Yeah, but if it's not them, though, then who will be the person that will have an interest on?
So that's the thing.
If somebody's saying, listen, somebody got rid of this guy.
Yeah.
If it's not them, who will have an interest?
It could be anybody, because you got to think about it. Like you said, a lot of the conversations happen at the kitchen table. Yeah. So now, let's say I'm a guy where I had a conversation with Obama, and I'm like, well, who was there? Well, the only person who was there was my chef and this person. All right, well, that chef is no longer going to be cooking up anything. He's going to now be swimming with the fishes. So like I said, it sounds crazy, but I think that's possible. But I could also see it could have been where he got vaccinated and nobody don't want to tell you that that's how he passed out. So I think it's something that they're not telling us about the story. I don't know what, but I could see where they could want to make people like him disappear and not be surprised about it. So I'm not saying it did happen, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised.
You're still open to the situation.
Yes, 100%. Especially because of how he died paddleboarding, because he didn't know how to swim. Like, that don't make no sense. Yeah.
I actually know somebody that was close to the family that passed because he went to like rescue a child and he actually drowned himself. And so I mean, it's no joke for me. I'm a really good swimmer. I used to swim competitively, but it's like I have seen crazy shit happen in the water because you end up with a cramp, you hit your head in the wrong place.
Literally.
You end up with certain things if you fall off the so I can see where also it could have been something that went wrong with him on the end. I'm not buying the thing that he didn't know how to swim. Because absolutely, if you don't know how to swim, you're not gonna get in a place.
Correct.
You're not gonna put yourself in that position. But it is kind of fishy. I don't know. In my end, it's just which conversation did he hear? if anything, if we're gonna go that route, or it could have been something medical that happened to him that we would have never known.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
no, it's not a good look. either way.
I'm not,
Yeah.
and by the way, I'm not saying that the Obamas are
Free from-
less
right.
capable than you know what I mean. And I'm just saying that right now I'm trying not to go that route because it's so easy for
Yeah,
people to
absolutely.
be thinking along those lines.
Yeah.
Hopefully there will be some better information
Yeah.
that's going to come out of it. Hopefully we have better people
Correct.
than the people that were investigating the bag of
Little
the
baggie of
bag of
cocaine.
cocaine that we had in the White
Little
House.
baggie
You know
of
what I mean? And guys, but the ultimate game of conspiracy has always been connected to UFOs. You know what I mean?
Forever.
And like
Well, we've been
man,
around, yeah.
there are people just about endless movies and there are websites out there that
Yeah.
that's all they do, and there's people that's all they do, obsess about the idea of UFOs. So you have things that are truly taking place,
Yeah.
but when you compare it to everything that has been suggested that's taking place,
Yeah.
the gap between reality and fantasy, the gap between again what is real information and just pure conspiracy,
Yeah.
and in some cases even just bullshit, is just it's very difficult to let. So every president, the question has always been to why don't you just declassify, right?
Mhm.
So people are questioning the timing of this, right? Saying this is just another distraction. People are saying, but there's nothing here that we didn't know about. The people involved in this congressional hearing is a former intelligence officer. David Grush Grush is the main person that was, and then the other two people that were part of the hearing is the former Navy pilot Ryan Graves, who I don't know if you're talking about that was all over TikTok and just about social media. That he from his plane he actually captured, and that's the most accurate, real, you know what I mean, impossible to explain. The validated many of the points, and an ex-Navy commander, David Fravor, and they say, listen, this we have in our possession since 1930,
In almost 100
technology,
years.
and essentially biological remains, anything that can be considered obviously an alien, you know what I mean, if you want to, for lack of a better term, or to be specific, because they were not specific enough, but that's the suggestion, and that's what it was. And so the universe is ever expanding, and it's already so large that for me, my position was always, it would be extremely arrogant for us to believe that we are the only ones, right? From a religious perspective, you know what I mean? It's almost that suggestion that we are that special creation. But even from the religious perspective, there really is no firm expression that says, yes, we are very special and we are the only one, right? There's no, not even in that specific, there was a final confirmation that this all there is, and we are the only ones. Like that has never been the case.
Yeah.
So for me, this is nothing new. I will tell you though, that if you look back on how technology has advanced in the last, 30, 40 years, 50 years, where we have done more in the last 30 to 50 years, technology-wise, than we have done in the last, I don't know, but what do you want to call it? You can go back, 1,500, 500, 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And at some point you start to say, well, this probably, there is a possibility. It's connected to something like this. It's possible that it came from something like that just trigger some kind of jump start into the next generation of technology. And now here we are, artificial intelligence, and you said, okay, this is really like at a whole different level.
Yeah.
Is it connected to this? Was it generated through this? Does it have something to do with this? When they're talking about really advanced technology that we don't have in the United States at this very moment.
Yeah.
And we are right now the most technologically advanced nation. If we don't have it, that means that it's got to be extraterrestrial. You know what I mean? So, what do you?
Well, you don't think that's arrogant, though, to think? You don't think that China has something up its sleeve, or
At this
any
very
other
moment,
country?
at this very moment, we still in every level. At this very moment, right? Superior in just about every
So we
area.
think.
Just about every area. No, it's pretty much confirmed. Even on the head count, obviously they have a larger population, so they will have a larger army. You know what I mean, in terms of people. But in terms of technology, for the first time, I think that if going back to the Navy, right? If you measure the amount of vessels that we have available today and fully functioning compared to what they already developed, we already getting to that point where they are about to pass us, but that's still not. It's the same equipment type of thing, you know what I mean? But there's no real technological separation that's taking place between them and us. They're catching up, you know, and they're very close to in certain areas. But we still right now superior to that. That has been, there's enough research to support what I'm telling you right now. So I don't believe that some of the stuff that we're discussing has to do with technology that was generated by another country. You know what I mean? It really appears to be something from another planet. The thing is that, is this even, you know what the biggest, if you ask me, what the biggest thing about this news is that the reason why they kept saying that, well, people are not ready for this. We can't talk about this because everybody's gonna freak out. Imagine how they're gonna react if they knew that there was other account. It's almost like nobody cared. Like it was.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all, everybody. It's like nobody reacted. It's
okay,
like
sure.
Either people are saying this is not news. We knew this for
Sure.
many years, or they just don't even care about the whole thing, or they're not thinking it through. I don't know what the whole situation is.
Yeah.
But it was almost zero reaction to this.
That's funny.
That to me, that was like, wow,
Yeah.
nobody's freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody burning cars out there saying, ah, somebody's
Yes, yes.
somebody's taking over.
Yeah.
What I'm annoyed about is the timing of the whole thing. You know, it's like for me, is this thing has been under wraps for the past almost 100 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're in the middle of whatever's happening everywhere. All of a sudden, they couldn't keep this under wraps for a couple more years, couple more months, couple more. So there's a lot of other stuff happening. That is, these for me, the news coming out. Whether it's true, not true, all of that stuff, because there's people claiming that it could be other countries coming up with technology. Then there's
Right.
people that say it came from somewhere. Some people were abducted. Whatever it is that you want to believe. What's annoying to me about all of this is the timing and the momentum the force that it's getting right now, because it's like, okay, what the hell are they trying to hide? What else is out there
You think
that
it's
we're
just
not
a
paying attention
distraction,
to? Yeah,
the-
same thing with the Barbie thing. Same thing with the
Roswell
it's just-
and Area 51 has been, I mean, endless movies, areas of
Yeah.
discussion,
Yeah.
funny movies, horrible movies.
Yeah.
I mean, this again, the topic itself is nothing new. You know what I mean? But the hearing and this conversation at this very moment, like you said, could be just a distraction.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So for me, I definitely think there are aliens. I definitely think there are UFOs. But I don't think anything they're telling us is the truth. I think it's all a lie. It's a setup. So here's what I believe. I believe that
You think that it's one of the aliens that's actually releasing the information?
No. Not even that. I think
Doing a little-
everything that
little
they tell
damage
us
control.
about aliens is fake. Like, so I think aliens are real, but it's not what they tell you they are. I think all the so-called UFOs, I think that's all our government. I think they're going to use this as a way to blame it on aliens, so that now when you start asking questions, like, wait a minute, but if you have a plane that can go 1,000 miles an hour and doesn't need gas, why am I still paying for this light bill? That don't make no sense. So I think they're going to find a way to blame this on aliens, just so that people don't start asking questions about the technology we do have. I don't think it comes from... So do I think there are aliens? Yes. Is this aliens? No. This is just another way for them to try to set up the next 3 steps on how they're going to let things happen, or things will happen that they can have somebody else to shift the blame on. That's what I think. So I don't think any of the stuff that they're telling us is new. I think they've had a lot of these technologies for over 100 years, you know, and it's just they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know.
Yeah. Listen, just to close it, to be quite honest with you, no matter which way you go with this topic, you know what I mean, it always sounds very conspiracy theory, no matter what. almost sounds like you're saying, essentially, it's like you're getting a half truth. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Correct.
And it almost sounds like even the people that are supposed to be the experts about the subject only, and you're talking about people that say they claim that. I mean, this is somebody that said I've been literally terrorized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by other entities for me to have just for the willingness to even have this conversation. So we still, it's like, I don't know that we learned anything that was of greater significance that people didn't really either already knew or assumed that was already the case. But with that being said, guys, any final thoughts about anything here?
Last thing, if there are aliens, I want to see one of them. You know, give me some of that super alien technology. I'm ready. You know, so that's But
I want to be around for 1,000 years.
Correct.
Too many Marvel movies.
Read minds and multiply my
yeah,
money.
Yeah. So if they don't come and take me on a trip, so then I don't believe it. But more than anything, don't let it be a distraction, like Lorena was saying. You know, and if it make sure that we're paying attention to the things that do make sense. Even if you are gonna go watch the movies, even if you are gonna be paying attention to a lot of the nonsense that's going on, don't let it be something that stops you from doing what you gotta do for your family. Because at the end of the day, until you do get the alien technology, your bills is due, right? So you gotta make sure you make your money and do what you need to do for yourself and your family. So, like, I'm excited about everything that's going on, but we gotta remember what's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, is believe it or not, this news cycle for me was a very hopeful news cycle. Yes, people are trying to get, like, there's a lot of distractions coming in and being thrown your way, but I believe that there are more and more people having the right perspective, voting voting with the right, not correctly, but with the values and principles that are at least align with my values and principles when it comes to their money, their feet, and all of that stuff. So it's very hopeful. If you are that person that is kind of like in the middle, you're kind of indifferent, just know indifference, it is already taking a position, and it's never a good thing to be indifferent about anything, because at some point they're gonna come after everybody else, and you'll be the last person standing, and there will be nobody else to back you up because you were indifferent about everybody else. So this is the time to be very clear about which position you stand for, and to talk about it, to bring it up at the kitchen table, to support it with your money, support it with your feet. That's where I'm at, and obviously don't get distracted. Go make your money. Go make sure you build a massive business so you have a bigger mic and you have bigger influence. So that's it.
I want to close from my end, concentrating 100% about the situation that's taking place with Donald Trump. And we all agree on the fact that what's taking place right now is going to humanize Donald Trump. What is going to happen is that, again, the people that are already hating, they're going to stay in that. But there was a group that was always suspicious, maybe questioning as to whether or not maybe this guy is not so bad or maybe it's not so. When you humanize, when you actually make that person the underdog, you actually see people switching over their position. You know what I mean? So I think that this is going to backfire in such a bad way against the Democrats and what they're doing right now, because it is extremely evident that the system has been readjusted to weaponize it against this man who is the leading candidate. You know what I mean? And it appears that it's more election interference than anything else, because anything that he's being accused of doing, every single politician has done, including our current president, right? When it comes to documents, the tax filings, you have Hunter Biden. When you're talking about any other accusation that's being leveled, there's already a clear precedent about a number of people that have done it at a worse level with less rights about it, you know what I mean? Because there was no presidential privilege that was extended to a lot of people to have when it comes to these documents.
Presidential privilege, I'm sorry, it cannot be extended.
but exactly, if you're not, you know what I mean? But again, it's my My position is people are looking at this thing,
Yeah.
and at this point, it's just saying this truly doesn't make any sense, and you cannot see it from any other way than they don't want this guy to run, and it has got to be that much fear or hatred, you know what I mean, against this man. But I think that what's going to happen if they're not careful, inevitably he cruises to be the actual candidate representing, meaning he'll go through the primaries with the
No
Republican
problem,
Party
yeah.
with no problems, and then by the time he gets to general election, everybody's going to have to be so careful about whatever game they're going to be playing. The final outcome appears to be he gets elected as a president again, and that will be. I'm going to tell you, I think I during
Brace
the
for
moment
impact.
I listen. If you think the January 6th riot was something of any significance, I think that we're looking at something that can be for the first time the kind of civil unrest that we have never seen in this country based on elections. Meaning that there was always a peaceful transition of power. I think that as long as the current candidates continue to be the same candidates, we run the risk of something that can become very scary. I'm thinking once we're done with the election, I'm not so sure where I'm going to be January 6th, you know what I mean, after this is done, because I don't know that it's going to be a peaceful. I hope it is. I hope we don't damage something that has been functioning, that makes us very special as a country, and that we don't put it at risk. But I think that at this point, this can only benefit Donald Trump. So let's see, you know what I mean, the jury's out. But with that being said, everybody, I hope this was helpful to you. Please like, comment, pass it around, let some people know that we got this conversation
Fight it out.
going. Give us your perspective, your
Yes,
position.
yes,
I'm
yes,
dying
yes.
to hear what you're thinking about. Do you believe that there's aliens among us, you know what I mean, and there's possibly a strong possibility, you know what I mean? If you're an alien also, please let us know, you know what I mean? Share it. With that being said, everybody, we'll
Yes.
see you at the next one. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.